We was headed to Cancun, Mexico, and our flight left out of Dallas, Texas, and we was to drive to Dallas that morning in order to catch our flight to go to Cancun. It was a really bad morning after that. Okay, it was early that morning, August 2005. I had got off work. I had went by the barber shop and got a haircut. I was went by a friend's house that morning to visit him. He wasn't at home. I proceeded to keep riding. I seen an individual walking down the street that I knew, or I thought I knew, and I spoke to him. And I see this cop passing by looking at us as if though something was happening. I was in my truck. The individual was walking down the street on the sidewalk. When we got done talking, we never shook hands. He never came to my vehicle. I pulls off. I noticed after I went about 10 blocks, the same cop that was looking at us was on the other side of the street watching me again. At that time, I make a left-hand turn to go by my sister's house. I get about 7, 8 more blocks. That's when he pulls me over. At this time, I asked him why he pulls me over. He tells me that he pulled me over because I failed to use the turn signal back on 16th, which is some blocks away from where he pulled me over. At this time, I told him that I used my turn signal. So he went on from the turn signal to "I smell marijuana, get out your vehicle." He pushed me up against my vehicle real hard. He searched me real violently. He didn't find anything in the vehicle. Told me to stand to the back of my truck. When I was standing to the back of my truck, there was other police officers that pulled up. And at this time, I asked the officers, why did this cop pull me over? And they told me that I was talking to a known drug dealer. That's the reason why they pulled me over. Well, my explanation was that, who was the known drug dealer? Did you guys go back and find him? Well, no, he got lost in the neighborhood.
I'm beginning to wonder if you got any feeling for human life left in you at all.
I cast away my feelings.
At the time when I was pulled over, I was working with the system. I was working for Recovery Unlimited, which house individuals that's just getting out of jail. It's a 90-day program. And the 2 houses that I was working at, we have anywhere from 60 to 70 clients at one time.
Okay. And the person who you spoke to on the street, if I understand correctly, was he related to somebody that you knew through Recovery?
Yes, he was related to an individual. His younger brother was in Recovery Unlimited. And that's how I knew the individual that was walking down the street. And I was just giving the individual a little advice about his younger brother, that he was getting into some trouble because he wasn't finding a job, and that, he needs to, holler at him and, try to get him on the straight,
And for, giving some advice to this guy for his younger brother who wasn't following all the tenets of the program that you were working at.
Right.
You ended up being accused of selling drugs or having drugs in the car, getting pushed into the vehicle. And how long would you estimate they had you out on the side of the road?
Gosh, man, 30, 40 minutes. The guy was asking me, are you on probation, you on parole, you ever been to jail, have you ever did this, where you going, where you coming from, just all kind of harassment. So it was a pretty lengthy time.
Okay, now when you talked to this guy on the street, did the guy come up to your vehicle? Did you guys make contact? Did you reach out of the vehicle? Did he reach into the vehicle? Was there any contact, or was it just you speaking to somebody?
It was just me speaking to somebody. There was no contact made whatsoever.
So basically you just rolled the window down, spoke to somebody. 16 blocks later, you're being pushed up against the car.
Right.
And being accused of having drugs in the vehicle.
Right. Actually, it was a real nice day that morning. It was a real nice sunny day, so my windows was already down, and the individual was walking and stuff. So that's all we done was spoke. There wasn't any contact or any handshaking or anything.
Did you actually consent to the vehicle search?
No, sir.
What happened?
He, after I gave my driver's license and insurance, he told me I smell marijuana, and he opened my door and pulled me out the car and pushed me up against the car. I never consented for a search or anything.
And let me ask you, he claimed to smell marijuana and that marijuana was the probable cause for the stop. Did he ever return to the whole idea that you had drugs in the car, or how did he just get away from it?
Well, yeah, he did. He told me that he found drugs in my console, and if he had his dogs out here, then the dogs would be all over my car. And I told him that was the reason for you pulling me over, so call your dogs and bring them out. Well, this time he's telling me, just get in your car and leave. Get in your car and leave.
So you actually challenged him and told
Yes.
him to bring the dog?
Yes, I did.
And then he didn't bring the dog?
No, he did. He told me to get in my vehicle and leave.
So if he thought that there were drugs in your car, he smelled drugs, and that he saw drugs in the console, then how did he decide to just let you go?
This is what I don't understand. This is what I told him, that his whole purpose and stop was that he smelled marijuana, and if he found marijuana, then he should call his dogs and I should be arrested or whatever. He just tells me to get in my vehicle and leave. So I get in my truck and I leave. I take the ticket to court and I explain to the judge how I got the ticket and how we arrived at getting the ticket. And he didn't think it sounded too good, so they threw the ticket out. And that's when they told me to go up and file a complaint with the Internal Affairs, which I did that same day I went to court. I didn't hear nothing from Internal Affairs. In about a week or two, they told me that I'd be hearing something in 2 to 3 days. Well, when I called them, they sent me out a 3-line explanation telling me that they're glad that I filed with the Wichita PD and it wasn't nothing that their officers done, and that you know that was the end of it. So that's when I filed with the Kansas Commission on Human Rights and stuff, and got a lawyer. And things have just been going on from there.
Oh. Excuse me. But what you just did right there was I'm beginning to wonder if you got any feeling for human life left in you at all.
I cast away my feelings.
The case is going to be appealed. And one thing that we need to understand is, regardless of whether this particular case went to a jury or not, we had always anticipated an appeal. Whether we lost or whether the city lost, it wasn't something that was going to be decided finally at the lower court level. Either side would have appealed based on what the outcome was. So we're not shy, and it's not something that we didn't see. Our only disappointment is we wanted to have it go to a jury, so that all the facts would get out and that we would go ahead and get a jury of Mr. Patterson's peers to go ahead and hear the facts. And then, if any issues arose from what the jury found, that's what we wanted to see appealed, but not necessarily a ruling by a judge prior to trial.
I'm beginning to